Hey, what's up? This is Mailman Fresh, and today I'm coming to you with a video about the cost of living. Everybody know the cost of living is ridiculous. It's out of control. They saying 200K is a new 100K. So everybody that was trying to get the six figures, I'm talking about low six figures, not mid six figures, high six figures. When people say six figures, they lump all that together. But most times people talking about 100K, 120, 130. But they saying the new middle class starts at 200K. So this is me reacting to the cost of living and how high inflation has gotten. Check it out.
Are Americans like genuinely okay? Because tell me why. I just had a conversation with a guy who works as a literal space engineer. And he tells me that he's been working full time for them for the past 30 years. And that his current salary of $200,000 is considered middle class. $200,000. Then I said to him, no fucking way is 200,000 considered middle class. And like, I don't really know all of how like the American tax system works because I haven't lived there in like 4 years. The fact that there's not generally like health insurance benefits for people who are making less than him, like I can't help but wonder what they're even using it for. The American dream is literally dead. Tell me if I'm wrong. Are Americans
as it is. This is why I feel like the cost of living has never been as bad as it is right now. Because it used to be when the cost of living was high, it was for the things that you need in life. Food, gas, shelter, etc. All those things cost a lot of money. Right now, all of those things still cost a lot of money. And also, I feel like it's just expensive to just be alive. Like, I feel like my life, as soon as I wake up, is literally just me putting down a credit card. And it's just a tab. And life is a bartender. And it's just like, what are you going to have? And I'm just like, I'm okay. I don't really need anything today. And it's just like, oh, really? Well, if you're going to be here, you're going to need to spend money. And I'm just like, what do you mean here? I'm just in the world. And it's just like, yeah, you have to buy something now. It's even getting to the point where like, I feel like even my thoughts are getting expensive, you know? Like I could just have the thought of like, my nose is a little stuffy. And then all of a sudden I open up my phone 10 minutes later and have 12 ads for like, oh, you have a pollen allergy and you got to buy these anti-pollen allergy pills or you're going to suffocate in your sleep. Sleep is the only place I still feel kind of safe. But even there, it's like I could have sleep problems for one night and then I wake up feeling kind of groggy and all of a sudden I'm getting targeted ads for melatonin gummies. It's like all of our necessities are still expensive, and then also just every increment of our life costs something. This is why I feel like
if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Oh, Jesus Christ. First and foremost, Whoopi Goldberg, shut the fuck up. Stop speaking. You have been rich for the last 40 years. You don't get to hop on TV and speak on anybody's lifestyle at all. Shut up. I am so sick of boomers and older people and everybody in that category calling Gen Z and millennials lazy, like we're just some generation of people that don't want to work. We just want everything handed to us. We're just super entitled. Cut the bullshit. Stop the cap. That $500, $600, $700 apartment that you had when you were in your 20s, that apartment that you could afford and still save money to buy a house one day, that house that was $30, $40, $50,000 when you were little, triple that shit. Quadruple that shit. That's what we're paying nowadays with wages that don't match the increase in pricing. Let's talk about that. The wages, they don't match the increase in pricing at all. So I don't want to hear y'all say we're lazy and we're entitled. Motherfucker, we are working.
I think there's anything wrong with adults living with their parents.
I don't think people understand. Right now, the average amount of money you have to make in order to live by yourself is $60,000 a year, meaning you have to get paid $30 an hour. Come here. And that is just to cover rent. That's not including furniture. That's not including other bills. That's not including car issues, right? If you were to put all that together, you'd have to make about $75,000 a year, meaning you have to get paid over $35 or $40 an hour. So if you know somebody that is making you feel bad because you live at home with their parents, unless they are making $40 an hour at their job, they're definitely lying to you about their living situation. They either live in a closet or they have 4 roommates. There's nothing wrong with staying with your parents right now because at this moment in time, the new generation, they can't save any money. The only thing going up is the cost of things, not the actual payment towards their lives.
I don't think think there's anything wrong with adults living with their parents.
The salary you need to make today to live like your parents did 40 years ago, making $30K a year, is totally depressing. In a TikTok video, financial expert Robert Gill explained that adjusted for inflation, please sit down and have your emotional support person on standby before proceeding, you'd have to make $162,342 to have the same purchasing power. Now, it's important to understand that inflation isn't just the prices of things going up. It's also the broader price increases across sectors, industries, and ultimately an entire country's economy in general. So it's not just that, say, housing prices are up since 1983. A dollar is actually worth less than it was previously. This is why we're all feeling the pinch, and also why our parents don't seem to get it. Boomers telling us to work harder isn't going to suddenly make our dollars worth more, which led several commenters to ask Gill the question probably on everyone's mind. Does inflation ever really go down? His response, it hasn't in the last 40 years. And this of course means that as the value of our money continues to decrease, the amount of money needed to live a stable life will continue to increase. And unless we do something, like say reining in corporate power by having reasonable corporate tax rates like the ones we had even during the beloved Reagan era, for instance, a comfortable life on a normal salary will become more and more unattainable to us average folks. The salary you need to make today to live...
Here's how much it costs to live in Bali as an American who's been here for about 2 years. And just for reference, $100 is equal to 1.5 million Indonesian rupiah, so your money goes a long way. First up, we have rent, and for the past few months, I've spent about $500 a month, and that includes everything from utilities, housekeeping, maid service, all that shit, so you have nothing else to worry about. Next up, we have food. And while I am on a very strict diet, I still eat out for every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and still some way I've only managed to spend $450 this month, and I eat out a lot. Next up, we have transportation, and recently I did purchase my own bike, but when I was renting one, it would cost me about $90 a month, and then I would spend maybe an extra, I'd say $40 to $50 a month whenever I needed to go long distances, and I just decided to hire a driver. Next up, we have what I like to call my fun shit category, and this is activities like kayaking, going on yachts and shit like that, going to pottery classes, riding ATVs, beach clubs, all that shit. And I'll spend about $200 because stuff in Bali is pretty cheap and there's a lot of free shit to do. And finally, we have my miscellaneous expenses like my training at the gym, going to get dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, any work that I have to do like recording and shit like that, visa runs, you know, flights and all that good shit. And for this, I'd say I spend on average about $300 every single month. So over the past few months, I've averaged spending about $1,600 every single month living in Bali. So if you're planning on coming here, this is pretty much what you can expect. Alright, so
man, that last video was crazy. Thailand might be the new move, man. Man, look, with the money we make over here, man, we basically rich over there. That man was living like a king over there on just a little bit of money, man. Just think of how much stuff costs here, you know what I'm saying? The average rent is like $2,500, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Florida, so it's nothing for an apartment, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom to be shoot up to $3,000. Florida, my part of Florida, Northeast Florida used to be cheap, but now, you know, since the C-19, everything has went crazy in my city, in my state. So, man, Thailand might be the move, guys. Hey, if you're trying to live, you know, if you could work remotely, that might be the move for you, man.
Canada is sick. There is no more cost of living. There is only cost of surviving. My girlfriend and I met for coffees the other day, and she owes a little bit of money to the government, and she was crying to me, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm a single mother. Like, I can't afford to live here anymore. So she had a call with the CRA, and the CRA ripped her apart. They said, it is unacceptable that you have not maxed out your credit cards to pay us. It is not acceptable that you are paying $1,000 a month in groceries for yourself and your 3 children. You need to cut back. So she said to them, you're telling me that you want me to take the food from my children's mouth to pay your greedy ass when it's your fault that fucking groceries are astronomically priced right now. We are all in this together. We are all suffering together. The cost of living is killing people. Families are falling apart. People don't get to see their children because they have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. I need to let people know that there's another way. And I'm telling you, you need to start looking into the world of digital marketing, digital products, digital sales. These are all things that you can do at home. Make them at home, build them at home, implement it at home, start marketing it at home, and start making the money at home. Working your 9 to 5 is barely getting you by. You're never going to get ahead. But I'm telling you, you need to do something because this isn't going to get better. Watch what's going to happen in the housing market this year. Watch the price of groceries. Watch the price of gas. Like, we're not getting relief. This is not going away. So
fucking drowning financially as a single 29-year-old.
Babe, it's not you. Things have changed. She's 29, I'm 41. Old millennial here, younger millennial there. By the time I was 29 years old, I had been married for 7 years, I had a kid, and I'd bought 5 houses. And I started my married life off with $25,000 in credit card debt and nothing else. And there's just no way that I could have done any of that if I'd been in my 20s for the past decade. 24 years old, I became a real estate agent. I'm going to give one example of how that actually worked for me back then that it would never. There's something called a broker price opinion, or a BPO, that you can do as a real estate agent. It pays a certain amount of money for you to go out and take a couple pictures of a house and give a valuation. Normally they're ordered by banks. I used to do a boatload of these things every month. Like, I was making $7,000 to $9,000 every month just doing BPOs alone, not even counting my property sales. Back then, they paid $50 to $100. Guess what they pay today? $50 to $100. It's not you.
Yo, this is what $70 gets you at Walmart. Yep, that's it. $70.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, what the young lady was saying, the one that said she was the older millennial. Basically, it's at a point in time where you can't have no debt. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do what you gotta do to stack money, invest. You know, you're gonna have to stay with. If you gotta stay with family members, you gotta get roommates. Do what you gotta do, man, because I'm telling you, you're gonna have to adapt the immigrant philosophy when it comes to living these days, man. You're gonna have to stack up. If you gotta get 6 to a house, 6 to an apartment, 8 to an apartment, whatever you gotta do, because that's how a lot of immigrants come over here, and that's how they're successful, man. They live together, they work together, they put the resources together, man. Like the guy said, $70 in groceries was nothing, and he's telling 100% truth. Because I go to Publix, because I stay in the city, but I'm more on the outskirts of my city. So we only got Publix. We only have a Publix close to me, and when I go in there, man, I'm telling you, man, 1 or 2 bags is like $50 to $60. 2 bags of groceries, $60. I used to, like 8 years ago, I used to buy way more food, basket full of groceries for like $150, $200, man. $200, you got 4 bags. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to buy a house, you're gonna have to stack for 5 to 6 years. If you go to college, you're gonna have to go to community college. You're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to cut back. You're gonna have to stack all your money. Don't just save it. You gotta put it in the stock market. So it's a new time of day. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Inflation is not going down. These houses, they're not gonna go down by a whole lot, because if housing prices drop, then everybody's gonna rush out and buy them, and then they're gonna run the price back up. If Jerome Powell drops interest rates, everybody's gonna run out there and buy houses, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to early 2020, when everybody was paying $50K over asking, $100K, $200K over asking. People from California and New York coming with boatloads of money to Florida and Texas and buying houses outright, paying $200 over asking. So it's just inflation is not going nowhere, guys. So you're gonna have to, drastic times calls for drastic measures. So what you're gonna have to do, stay home longer. You're 18, go to community college, go to the military, go you're gonna train to be a merchant seaman. I see some videos, some of those guys and gals can make some good money, man. You can make 10 to 14K, no bills. You 18, 19, you stack, go out there for 4 to 5 years, you come back, you got 600,000-700,000. That's how you're gonna have to do it, man. So yeah, that's my video reacting to TikTok rants. It's Mailman Fresh checking in with you. Yeah, I'll be back.